Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Creator's Take, where we're joined today by Shahar Cohen. You might know him as the Chaim Shali guy, a content creator known for his amazing humor and comedy sketches online. Today, we're going to give you guys a behind-the-scenes look into who he is as a content creator and his best-kept secrets for how you can succeed at creating content. So without further ado, let's take it away.
Amazing.
Shahar, how are you doing today?
I'm so happy to be here. I just said that it's such a nice setting here. We have leaves behind us and it's a nice room and we have my coffee. I have my coffee.
Amazing. It's calming. We're set. We're ready to go.
I want to live here.
We're moving in actually.
Perfect. I love it.
It's probably cheaper than Tel Aviv rent. So
yeah, probably.
So we can get away with it.
Probably.
Okay, let's first start. Why don't you just introduce yourself? Let us know who you are, how you got here.
Yeah, so introducing myself changed over the past few years because I started from just trying out TikTok. So let's call it trying to be viral. I had my full-time job that wasn't necessarily connected to what I did on TikTok. Then when I started going viral and finding my niche, and we're going to talk about it, I became a content creator. And as of the past year, let's say I'm also a comedian because I also take my performances on stages. So I'm a content creator, a comedian, and just finished my full-time job at High Tech to go full on to doing that.
Wow. So you're basically the full package is what I'm hearing.
Oh my God,
you do it all.
I'm also a singer originally, so I can sing in the future. Beware.
Maybe we'll have you sing at the end as well.
Maybe.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
So I was growing up on Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, so all the divas. I could sing everything. Oh my God. You see how the characters come into life?
Yeah.
This was a Shoshana and Miriam kind of,
They're all weaving in slowly. Okay. Wait, so why don't you tell us, how did you become a content creator?
Okay, so I always start from saying I'm 34 right now. So I started fairly late, let's say. But it's like in the past, you used to start young, but now I feel like a place for everyone. Mm-hmm. So at 31, kind of 31, I was trying my luck on TikTok. It was like I didn't know a lot about the platform, so I'm smart now saying a lot of things that I didn't know then. But when I reflect, I just tried, to be famous, to go viral. It was very interesting for the first time to have a platform where you could be discovered in a way if you have like a successful video. So I feel like at the beginning, I just tried so many angles. When I really started feeling like I am becoming a content creator like full time was when I went viral with my first comic series on TikTok called Then versus Now. So I took specific situations like buying coffee, going to the grocery shopping, whatever it is. I compared then versus now, like 60s versus 2000s and stuff like that. People really liked it. So I became viral in Israel. And then you probably will have more question about this subject, but I really will say it shortly. I figured out that as a content creator, you need to have a niche. And that then versus now was my niche, but then I expanded it to more series like America versus Israel, the Japs, Nofar, That Girl, stuff like that I do on my page. So this is shortly how I became a content creator.
So how did you sustain that growth, right? Because you took off with everything with Then versus Now, and then you got the idea to bring in other characters. So how did you kind of start riding that wave and come up with all these creative ideas?
Amazing. So first of all, how did I keep growing? This is a really important question that you asked because I think the number one mistake that people do today is ask the question, how do I become viral versus what value do I give? Okay? Mm-hmm. If you ask yourself, how do I become viral? You do a huge mistake because everyone wants to become viral. But you need to ask yourself, what is the value I'm bringing? And the value I brought in the then versus now was people relating to the differences between how life used to be and how they are today. And I also brought the value of laughter, of being funny, of making people laugh. So how did I keep that growth? This is exactly also what I told you on the taxi here. when a niche like then versus now becomes kind of old and people are like, okay, he's doing the same thing all the time, you need to start looking for something new to grow your audience and grow your niche. So I remember talking to my cousin and she told me like, wait a minute, if you're doing then versus now, you could do America versus Israel. And this is super funny because it's like, okay, buying coffee is an American versus Israel. Grocery shopping is an American versus Israel. And you as an Ola Chadasha will probably know and you will probably relate. So I had a bunch of other audiences through that. So I think my secret of keeping a long-term growth to your question is growing my niche. So it was then versus now. America versus Israel. Then Israelis in America. Americans in Israel. Americans and Israelis during an alarm.
Right.
The Japs. So I create more and more subcategories on my profile that relate to more audiences. And for your second question about how do creativity comes, when you find your niche, the ideas come. Because you sit at a coffee place and you hear Olim Chadashim at like the coffee place and you're like, I heard this girl, this Ola Chadasha saying, I'm sorry, does this line go to the shuk? the bus line.
Right.
And then I saw an Israeli answering, yes, it goes to shuk, come up. And then I said, I have to make a scene around it.
It's
and I create,
so
this is one of
funny.
my most watched videos. People love this video.
Right.
So you're just getting creative from your day to day.
I was going to say, I feel like that's probably what made it the most successful is that you were literally taking it from your day-to-day life. So you saw an experience happen and that's probably what helped it take off is because everyone can relate to that. We've all been in that position. I've been the Ola Chadasha that's been like, some Israeli, help me, please. I'm so lost.
Exactly. And when you, for example, will watch my video and you want to explain to your family, whatever, in America, what's happening to you here, you will send them my video. So this is how you grow because it's like people share. And you grow your audience. And I always say, if you want to grow, and we're going to go deeper around that later in the podcast, I guess, you have to find your niche. You have to understand which value you're bringing. And this is how you're going to grow. If you're going to ask yourself each time, what video should I do today to become viral? You're not going to grow if you're going to think that way.
And how did you kind of decide that that was the value that you brought? Like, of course, it's one thing to compare, but was this something you were always interested in doing? Or how did that kind of come about?
Yeah. So I'm a 90s kid. So 90s kids will really relate to what I'm going to say now. We used to take the video camera and just like film things. And we used to watch them ourselves on screen at our house, right? There was no, just think about it. There were no platforms. There was TV. And then there was YouTube, but it was really hard to whatever. So I feel like I've always had it in me to just create those skits. And what was your question?
Like, how did you decide that that was the value that you brought?
Oh, yeah. So the value, like for example, let's take a person that is not me. He's not funny. So his value won't be to make people laugh. We have a person in Israel called Esk Dani. He's explaining about politics. This is how he gives a value. He's not funny.
Right.
So you need to ask yourself, I asked myself, I was always the funny guy in the group. So it was very natural for me to just go about and make people laugh through my videos. So it all starts from your real life, I guess. Just what do you do in real life? And how do you bring it to other people?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so how would you kind of maybe suggest or provide any insight for somebody who's trying to choose the right niche or the right content strategies when you get into the more technical side of things?
Amazing. So you need to ask yourself what the thing that you want to start talking about or creating, how many people are doing the same thing? This is the first question you need to ask yourself. If not a lot of people are doing that, you're in a great position. Just you can start and start creating videos around that subject. But if not, you need to double click on what is the inside of the niche. I'll give you an example. I have a good friend named Ophir. She wanted to create videos of herself going to restaurants and just like, how do you call it? Like, מסקרת מסעדות, reviewing restaurants, right?
Oh, okay, restaurant reviews, yes.
Restaurant reviews. You see, I'm not a real American. And just like I'm getting stuck sometimes on the basics.
But you do it really well in the videos. You never know.
Or you do know, but it still makes people laugh.
It's still funny.
So Ophir came up to me and she said, I really want to do like food reviews. And I told her like, you know, there are a million people doing that on social media right now. I mean, are you scrolling on the For You feed? Like every second video is like...
Everything. Try this new bar in Tel Aviv, this new restaurant. You must eat here. I mean, I'm saving all of them, but they're all the same.
They're all the same. And then like I told her, what's going to be special about your videos? What's your passion? And then we scrolled down and we double-click to the experience she's having in restaurants. And then we realized that she said when she's getting the check in the restaurant, she's interested to know, was it worth the price? And then we said, okay, let's take it a step forward. Can we start the video with saying, is this restaurant named Taizu worth 900 shekels for 3 people? Wow, that's a nice concept.
Right.
And ever since we made this conversation, she went viral.
Wow,
because she found the spot. And you know what? How do you know you found your niche? When they know how to talk about you without remembering your name. Think about it. If they talk about Ophir without knowing her name, she's the is it worth the price girl.
She's got her branding.
Right. And when they talk about me, I always say my wigs are not my niche. My America versus Israel inside the wigs is my niche because you have so many people doing wigs on social media.
Right.
But I'm the America versus Israel guy who does the wigs.
Right.
And this is how you know you found your niche. You double click and this is how you do it.
Wait, amazing.
Right?
I love that. I think that's because I never knew how to put that into words because everyone's always saying, define your content pillars. It's like, you can have them, but then how do you really make that you? Because so many people are doing the same thing or want to do similar stuff.
And let me tell you something. Since October 7th, we had so many warriors talking about like the hasbara. How do you say hasbara in English?
We don't have a word for it in English.
This is so explanation.
Like advocacy?
Advocacy.
You would say like advocating for Israel specifically?
I feel like the market is flooded now with people doing hasbara, like front to camera, just talking about
breaking in Israel right now.
And it's like, first of all, let me tell you something. It's important.
Of course.
But most of it's already boring. It's like people won't listen to it. You don't get to the people that you wanted to get to. It's just like feeding the same people with the same information. So even in hasbara, in advocacy for Israel, what can you do different? And so, for example, I have a really good friend named, the Venezuelan guy, Johan. The guy who is a Venezuelan, he's not Jewish, he's married to a Jewish guy, and he's making hasbara in his own iconic way.
Cute.
Just taking references from Britney Spears and stuff like that about hasbara. This is a niche, because they're going to say, this is the Venezuelan guy who's Christian, who's explaining about Israel. So, you know what I mean, right? You need to find your thing.
Because I feel like a lot of people sometimes get scared to be too specific, that they're going to kind of lose their audience.
Right,
and so,
because they want to grow big, right?
Exactly. So how do you kind of balance that difference between, finding your niche versus, okay, now you've lost us, you're way too specific? Exactly.
So if we talk about hasbara, this is a really tough subject because you will always have the people who don't like Israel that you can't convince them. You know what? But let's take it out of hasbara, okay? My perfect example is the then versus now. I was viral with my first series in Israel because it was in Hebrew. And when I did America versus Israel, I exploded in North America. So if you want to grow bigger, you need to understand what will people relate to. Because I probably think that you were exposed to me in maybe when I added the Olim Chadashim content to my videos. So I got to Olim.
Right. And I think it's so important to note that you can kind of keep changing and growing. I think people get so caught up and think that they have to stay with their one niche. And it's like, well, no, you can grow that. You don't have to stay stuck in the one area.
You can grow. And actually, when you look at my page, you can define it as several niches because you can say also when you look at my whole page, I play characters and I have a lot of like the characters are now the umbrella and I have a lot of different stuff under that umbrella. So you can analyze it so many different ways, but exactly, yeah, what you said is correct.
And okay, speaking of your page, okay, as you said, you really like to have it curated and everything planned out, but how do you kind of balance that? I mean, especially now that you're going into full-time being a content creator, balancing the authenticity, the partnerships.
Oh my God. That's such a good question because this is the number one, let's say, worry or challenge of a content creator. Because if, for example, today I will sign 10 deals with brands and my next 10 videos are going to be commercials, everyone are going to hate me because they're going to go like, you made us laugh, you did organic content, why are you doing only commercials now? So my advice is balance, in a way, 3 organic videos for 1 partnership. 20 organic videos in the next month. It's really stressful.
And you have to come up with all of those new ideas now. And
this is the stressful life of a content creator. And when we do get a lot of money from it, you still get a lot of criticism saying like, oh, he's only making a video and getting so much money. But like, yeah, because it's a really hard job. So I feel like you have to balance between 75% of organic content versus the sponsored content. And don't take things that are outside of your brand because it's going to look weird. I don't take, for example, political campaigns because it doesn't matter what my opinion is. My brand is uniting people together. And I know politics separate us. So I'm never going to take side officially with a brand that is political because it's like not my thing. I don't want to separate people.
Right. And have you had to turn down a lot of different opportunities because of that? And I'm sure that's really difficult because it's also a form of income, but then you kind of have to balance, choosing money over keeping your audience and everything.
I like to protect also my audience because it's like, for example, if I'm getting a brand partnership and they wouldn't like offer something good enough or the messaging is wrong, then like I'm not going to sell my audience because I have potentially on Instagram, for example, 100,000 followers that are going to watch it. I have a responsibility now. I can't just use my audience. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm trying to be really transparent also with my audience. For example, tomorrow I'm having like a coffee brand collabing with me, on something like big. And I uploaded on my story, Nofar, my character, is getting a coffee campaign. I like to celebrate it with them and be transparent about it. So I try to make them engaged with what I do.
Right. How has that been in general with becoming, blowing up overnight, becoming viral over the years? How's that kind of impacted your personal and your professional life? I mean, you were talking about now that you're pursuing full-time content creation, so for sure for professional, but just also as a person, how has that been now?
Yeah. So I feel like in a way it wasn't overnight because I did see myself growing in steps. So exactly as I repeated like 10 times, I'm sorry for being like such a record.
No.
A stuck record. Do you say it in English?
Yeah,
stuck
broken record.
Record. So like the then versus now, the America versus Israel, the Israelis in America, the war. I saw how I grew.
Right.
It didn't happen overnight like you go to Big Brother and you become viral overnight. But I can tell you that in the past year, I really felt the strong growth.
I was going to say, when was the moment where you felt like, oh, wow, I'm reaching fame here where people are really noticing me and this is really taking off?
So it started 2 years ago, but in the past year, for example, with doing the Americans and Israelis during Alarm, those blew up on TikTok and Instagram, really making me like, let's call it big worldwide. So I felt that I'm traveling and I'm being recognized outside of Israel. And this is where I was like, okay, whoa. I'm recognized.
Yeah.
Like,
also with friendships, I mean, have dynamics changed a lot since, the past couple of years?
So even here you have the balance because I feel like 80% of my friends are the friends that I have not related to me being famous. And then with the creators community and the celebrity community, let's call it like that, I am being really choiceful just to bring people to my life that I know are interested in my own good and care about me and that I care about them, because this industry can be really competitive, really mean, really non-respectful. You will never see me like, I don't want to be a part of the gossip, dirty, throwing shade at each other life. I would never be interested in that because I feel like this is toxic. So
for sure,
I'm choiceful, and I also came to this as a grown up. Like I'm 34. I'm not 20.
Right.
Not like you.
I know.
No, you're 25.
Yeah.
You're
so growing up,
26.
I'm closer to 30 now. So it's
oh my God, soon I'm closer to 40. No, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay, we're done. We're moving on from that.
Yeah.
Okay, because the most important thing is your characters that you came up with. You talked about them a little bit, but can you tell us more about them for maybe people who know or don't know?
Amazing. So when I did the Then versus Now, I started off as Shahar, just like reading a book versus scrolling on the phone, and like asking my mom to buy us the new videotape versus asking for a subscription on Disney Plus. This was the comparisons I did. And then the comments said, okay, play also the mom. Okay, play also the sister. Play also. They wanted it. They wanted me to play other characters.
Oh, okay.
So I opened my closet. Not in this way, okay?
Yeah.
I opened my closet and I found wigs from a kid, whatever, in Purim. And I just started wearing them as the mom and as the sister and as their friends. And then, it's like an evolution because I said, oh, this wig already looks bad. I went on Shein or on
Classic, AliExpress.
And then it became like bigger and bigger because like Nofar, for example, everyone asks how Nofar was created. She was created in one of my America versus Israel videos where when the Israeli got a wedding proposal, so all her friends were around her and she was like saying like, Nofar, do you realize I'm getting married? And they didn't even see Nofar, but they asked, who is Nofar? And then I created Nofar.
Oh, wow.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I listen to the comments and I talk to my followers and I see what they like. And now I already buy clothes to Nofar when I travel. And and I perform on stage. So I buy her stuff for the stage. And this is taking over my life. Yeah, my life.
My life. It works. I feel like you touched on something so important, and it's the interacting that you're doing with your audience, because I feel like people are always thinking, oh, I have to come up with all these ideas, and they don't realize that their audience can give a lot back to them.
Yeah.
Have they created other ideas as well for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think I was really protective at the beginning, like saying to everyone, all my videos are stuff that I thought about, But then I opened up to my audience, and some of the best ideas I had were from people saying like stuff that happened to them. Now, when my followers give me examples, they don't give me the script. They give me the insight. And then I have to make a script and an interaction with the characters out of it. But yeah, my audience helps a lot now. Yeah, it's fun.
Do you have a character that's like nearest and dearest to your heart? Or
Nofal.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
She's the best. She's fun. She's like, we call it in Hebrew, Hamami Aleumit. Hamami Aleumit is like like America's sweetheart.
Oh, okay.
This is how we call it in Hebrew for Israelis.
Cute.
Hamami Aleumit. So I feel like everyone can relate to her. She's, sorry, I will say a word, bitchy but nice.
Yeah.
She's not as smart, but she's very confident. And I feel like we all have an Nofar in us. Everyone loves her.
Beautiful.
Everyone loves Nofar.
Yes, how could you not?
Yeah, I know.
And so when you kind of think of the stereotypical, Israelis and Americans, what are the first things that come to your mind? Because I feel like you do such a good job of defining the stereotypes.
Right.
And I think so many people who maybe don't know a lot about either culture would be curious to hear.
Yeah. So I feel every culture has its stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
Like even on the taxi, when we went here, we said Americans and Israelis are very alike in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
We're very alike in many ways. But when you do comedy, you have to choose the stereotype, right? Because you want to make it funny. So I feel like my America versus Israel started and still is the politeness versus the directness, and the chutzpah of the Israelis versus the respectful and very structured,
politically correct.
For example, workplace for Americans, it's like, oh, I really liked what you did, but I feel like if we take it to the next step, blah blah. And in Israel, I always say they say it's not good.
Right. Try again.
Try again.
Yeah.
But that's why we're more tough.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the army when we finish
right.
high school. You go and do gap year or something.
Or you go straight to university and you're trying to figure out what you want to do.
It's way different life.
Right.
It's way different life.
Most people are doing college, sororities, fraternities, while Israelis are doing the army. It's completely different.
For boys, it's 3 years.
As you're talking about being globally recognized,
yeah.
I'm sure that's also got to take a toll on you mentally.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge concern a lot of people have is if they start putting themselves out there online, how is that going to affect their mental health? And how has that been for you?
Oh, I'm so happy you asked this question because I feel like this is something people before they enter this world of content creation need to know. First of all, the competition with other content creator is brutal, okay? You always compare yourself. You're always not good enough. When your videos succeed and you grow, you're happy. And when you're stuck in the following base, you're sad. And it's like, think about it. If you take, for example, I don't know, Ryan Seacrest, he's a host in the States. He has his shows. He already has his place in the TV channels and everything. Content creators, if we don't create every day, we're not going to grow. So we have a lot on our shoulders, and it's creating a lot of anxiety because it's like, what if I can't continue? What if I don't have new ideas? What if I don't want to do this anymore? So I feel like before you go into this, and if you're listening to the podcast and thinking about if I should do it or not, you need to understand that it's rewarding, but it also comes with a price. It comes with a price of putting a lot on your shoulders and chasing a lot, and you need to learn how to take a break. I also say it, and I am not sure I'm doing it.
Okay. I was going to say, what does taking a break look like for you? Like, do you ever log off completely?
No. And this is a problem. I'm talking about it to my therapist. I don't log off. I can even tell you that in the last few months I have a crazy screen time. But I want to feel like I will have the time where I log off. Like, I'm having fun. It's not like I'm miserable.
Of course.
I go out, I go to restaurants, I travel, I perform worldwide. I'm having fun, but I feel like I need to be on that island without a screen in my life.
I was going to say, because I'm sure maybe you're not necessarily logging off, but I'm sure there's times where, you go and you don't have content creation on the brain, where you just go and kind of let loose. And I'm sure those times are super important as well, even if it's just to mentally take a break. Yeah,
and I think it's important for the brain. And I think the reason it's hard to do it because you're like being chased by, what if this person is gonna outgrow me? And what if he takes my niche? And what if he gets this contract and I don't? Like, it's a really tough and competitive life.
I'm sure. And also, how has it been with public perception? Just walking around, do you feel like you have a sense of privacy at times? Do you feel sometimes like that can be overstimulating?
So I'm very good with people. I feel like I'm very recognized now. Walking on the street, I would be approached by so many times. But there are two kinds of people, I feel like. There are the people who it's really nice to be approached by. They know the level of how much they should talk to you. So you will also be able to go on with your day. And there are the people who sometimes would not understand that sometimes I just need to be with myself. I think these are the moments where I feel a little bit like, but it doesn't happen a lot. So I'm happy about it.
Right.
And don't be afraid to approach me on the street because of what I said.
You're like, please come up.
Please come up.
Exciting.
It's great. No, I always say
of
come up.
course.
But sometimes I'm tired or sad and I'm like, I can't deal with it, but it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure also sometimes it can maybe even help. Like if somebody, if you're feeling down about yourself and then someone comes up and they're like, I love you, I'm obsessed with you. You're like, wait, okay, I'm kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's funny because I had those times where I didn't post anything for like 2 weeks because I had a breakdown.
Right.
And on those 2 weeks, I was even more recognized. And that's where I understood that we live in a bubble because we think, oh, we don't upload 2 weeks, no one knows me now. But no, everything is okay. And
Right.
I also learned from it. So you need to understand that don't live in your bubble. You can not post. I could probably not post now for 2 months and everything is going to be okay. But I don't feel like that. And I also remind you that I'm signed on contract and brand deals.
Right.
And I have to make organic content or my audience will be mad at me. So I'm living inside my
Right.
own world.
You're right. You get stuck in your little bubble and then I feel like you go outside and you're like, oh wait, everyone's kind of living their own lives. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like this isn't everything.
Yeah.
And
Saturdays, Fridays for me, sometimes my friends go to the beach and I'm like, no, I have to do this video because Saturday night is a strong day and I have to upload. But now when I quit my full-time job, I feel like I'm going to have more time for myself.
yeah, how are
Which is
you
great.
feeling about now going from working and doing content creation to now pursuing it full time?
Yeah, so I feel like I've waited for the right moment.
How did you know it was the right moment?
When I had enough pillars. Now I have the brand deals. That's how
brand
we call
deals.
it. Brand deals pillar. I have the comedy shows pillar, where I perform in Israel and outside of Israel. I have my merch, which I'm wearing
The
right
merch.
now. The merch.
The merch.
And I have my lectures because I took all my knowledge as a marketeer and a content creator to a lecture to help people go viral and find their niche. So I feel, and we can also say I started getting offers for being an actor. So maybe there's a fifth
exciting.
pillar. Let's see if I get
Yeah.
accepted. Maybe
Hopefully.
not. But I felt like, okay, I have enough pillars. I can
Right.
throw my full-time job.
Wow. Okay. And so, because I was going to ask too, like, how do people stay relevant with this? Because, right, like you said, you have all these pillars, but how do you make sure that you're kind of maintaining relevancy on top of everything that's going on?
Right. So it's always with the balance of finding your niche, understanding, first of all, if there's a fatigue around your niche and if you're growing it and evolving with it. Because I know so many amazing content creators that became really famous for their niche, but I see them stuck in the past year or two with their following. Because, for example, they're still trying to do those videos like the 2 months after October 7th, but it's not relevant anymore. People want something different. You can still talk about what happened and explain about Israel. That's super important, but find the new way or don't repeat yourself because people will say, I already saw it. Like, why would I offer or share this video to my friends if everyone already seen it? You know what I mean?
Like they kind of have to stay up with the new ideas, the things that are going on, and find ways to either tie it back or to do something new. Otherwise, people aren't going to share it.
Yeah, and I also will give it advice. People are scared sometimes to try something new because you don't know if it will succeed or not. But let me tell you something. The algorithm of the platforms, when they see you doing something new at the beginning, it won't explode necessarily. When I started with the Japs, the first ones weren't big. And when it's, the algorithm needs to learn who likes it. And then when he learns, then when you grow big with your new niche. So don't be scared if you try something new and it doesn't explode. It will end up exploding if it's good. You just need to let the algorithm time to learn it.
And when you're talking about the algorithm, because I think people also really view, TikTok and Instagram, they function very differently. So
I was waiting for you to ask.
Okay, I was going to ask, what's your biggest piece of advice for how to navigate the two?
Amazing. Okay, so people have a different strategy for Instagram and for TikTok. I don't believe in this approach, okay? And I will tell you exactly what I do. TikTok changed the world in the way that you discover people in the For You feed. And it brought a new generation of unknown people who became famous. And I'm going to tell you why. Take a step before TikTok to Facebook and Instagram. When Facebook started, we used to add 2 categories of people, okay? I'm going to ask you, who are the 2 categories of people we added as friends on Facebook?
Oh my God, the people that we added as friends, it was what? Like friends and family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Instagram.
Is that the right answer?
Instagram started, and then you followed 3 categories. 2 of them are friends and family. What's the third?
Celebrities.
Amazing. What's in common to celebrities, friends, and family? People that you
know.
Amazing. Then TikTok started. We are immediately scrolled into the For You feed. Now I'm going to ask you a question. When you're on the For You feed and you scroll, do you care if the person in the next video is someone that you know?
No.
No. What do you care about? You care about laughing, learning, being inspired, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So now I get to the most crucial point about the algorithms. So we understand that in order to succeed on TikTok, we need to make people that don't know me to stop on my video. Amazing. So I need to learn how to stop them in the first 3 seconds or even the first second, or they'll skip me. So now when we learn this, if a video will succeed on TikTok, it will for sure succeed on Instagram. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if I planned my video to stop people that don't know me, and I put it on Instagram, it will for sure succeed. Because it's on Instagram, it measures it on the people who knew me and also who don't know me. So I have the help of the people who know me. But if you do the opposite, if you do a video that will succeed on Instagram because people know you, on the For You feed, it won't necessarily succeed because it was planned in the way that people know Marielle. But on the For You feed, they don't care. So what I do, I plan the video to succeed on TikTok. I always think of myself as an unknown person before I upload. And then on Instagram, it also explodes because it gets to non-followers.
Right.
You understand?
Really reaching out of that echo chamber and just completely breaking it down.
The number one mistake a content creation can do is start his video with saying what's your last name, Marielle?
Israel.
Marielle Israel?
Yeah.
So the number one mistake that you can do if you will get famous now on social media is starting a video saying, hi, I'm Marielle Israel's, or whatever it is. They will skip. But what happens if you start from the interesting point, from the people who don't know me point? Okay? The way you know that a video succeeds on TikTok is exploding on the For You feed, and the way you know a video will explode on Instagram is getting also to non-followers.
Okay. So when you're posting, do you post on TikTok first, see how it does, or you just post on both at the same time?
On all 3, also YouTube Shorts.
Oh, nice.
Because actually YouTube Shorts is actually very similar to TikTok.
Oh, because it's also the
yeah, they also, you know what they did, YouTube? They saw how TikTok succeeded. And for some users, they put the Shorts as the automatic first page on the app.
Oh,
so it looks like you're entering TikTok.
Right, you wouldn't even know the difference.
Yeah. So plan one video, and I can help also on this podcast how to plan it very shortly and upload on all 3 platforms.
Okay, yeah. So how would you recommend planning out your videos then?
Yeah. So the first rule is making people understand from the first 3 seconds, you're going to give them value. Okay?
Okay.
My value is comedy. For example, let's take it to one of my America versus Israel video where I compared the moment where the woman, her water break, and her husband is helping her get to the hospital.
Yes.
So I knew that in order to start this scene very interesting, I should start from the climax. Okay? It couldn't... if I started it, for example, by saying oh, honey, I'm so excited for us going to give birth in a second. And then the husband answering, me too. And then the wife will say, oh my God, my water broke. This is too late.
Right. They've already scrolled past it. Now.
Right. You need to start from, oh my God, honey, my water broke. This is how my videos start.
Right.
With the climax. So you need to plan it in a way that you need to think two things. Am I giving value? And are people that don't know me will stay?
Okay.
Okay? So a way to think about it, if you're let's call it, if you're not a comedian like me, you want to talk about explaining about Israel, you can start with saying your name, we said. You need to start with asking maybe a question.
But the idea is kind of to focus on like whatever the pain point is, whatever the main idea is, and kind of make sure that it's right at the beginning for them.
Exactly. And then after you hooked them, you're explaining and keep it very quick cuts. Because if you don't do your video quick, people will abandon also in the middle. And let me tell you something, the more they stay in the video, the more views you get. Because this is the goal also of TikTok. If they see your video is a long video that people stay until the end, they gained more time of people on the platform.
Okay.
So they offer it to more people. This is the secret.
So they want to see long and entertaining. They're honestly for it. Because I feel like so many people get caught up in the current trends going on, the trending sounds, which I know can be important.
It's very 2020.
Yeah.
Now it's more complicated than that, I feel like. You need to be more creative. You need to find your niche. You need to edit your videos the way people see until the end. For example, I can tell you, on my profile, 50% of the viewers, 50, stay until the end.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What's the average number that usually even stay till the end? Yeah.
It's like a few like 10%.
Wow,
I would believe, or even lower. So you will see, you know what? Go to your videos even. People that are listening, go to videos that got like 100 views. Go and see the view-through rate of the completion. You will see 5%, 1%.
Right.
Go to the one who succeeded. It's 50%, 60%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to stay entertaining. You have to stay with it. And I feel like if it's fun, like it should feel fun for you while you're filming. And I feel like you kind of know while you're filming it, especially after you've done it a couple of times, like this is going to succeed.
Yeah.
I know it. Like this is doing really well. I'm laughing.
Yeah.
Have you had any big flops where you were like, I thought that this was going to do so well, and was there a reason that it didn't?
And also the opposite.
Yeah. Oh, where you're like, why did this blow up?
For example, the first Americans and Israelis during alarm video, this was a bad day for me. I was thinking this is a shit content. And it ended up being one of my most viral videos.
Wow.
And it opened a whole series of Americans and Israelis during alarm.
Wow.
So,
okay.
But also, I also have the opposite where I was like, what? I found it interesting. Why did it get stuck in views? And then when I broke down, I said, maybe it's not that interesting. Like to talk about, I don't know. So you need to understand if your hook, did you hear the term hook in the past?
Yeah.
If your hook is interesting and valuable enough. If it's not, people are not going to stop. Your views are going to stop.
Right. It's all stopping. Good luck. Bye. It's over.
It's all stopping. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Is there anything else you really want to touch on before we get into filming the video?
Yeah. We're filming a very fun video. Promoting this podcast. Yeah, let's talk about it transparently. We're going to promote it with the Japs.
Exactly.
Doing a podcast, which is fun. Is there anything else I would like to touch? Okay. I would like to give a clear few steps for someone who wants to go big on social media and doesn't know what to do. So, and it's actually to summarize what we said.
Yes.
So you need to find your niche, but a real niche, not like advocacy for Israel niche. What's inside that? What are people going to talk about when they don't know your name to define you? That's the first thing. Second, how do I structure my videos? You need to start with a strong hook. You need to continue with quick cuts to prevent abandonment.
Yes.
To create stronger views. Also, remember that you can end with a call to action. follow for more, tag a friend who identified, tag a friend who needs to know it. This also helps. And the third part is relatability. I feel like the people are the heroes now. It's not like we're watching our stars on television and it's like a remote. No, the people are important now. I create my videos to entertain people, to make them relate, to make them feel happy. So feel that you're creating for the people on the other side of the screen rather than focusing on yourself.
Right. Oh, that's amazing advice.
Yeah.
And that helps keep you well-rounded, grounded in everything. Yeah. It's amazing advice. And now we want to see it put into action.
Oh my God.
We want to see you
let's talk about what we're going to do with the jabs. Okay. So we want to promote this podcast, right? And I thought, okay, if you want to use me to promote the podcast of myself, the best way to do it is with the jabs. Why? Because Miriam and Shoshana, the two sisters, are always fighting with each other. And what we're teaching on my podcast is how to make people viral and find their niche. So what if we start the video with Shoshana saying to Miriam, how did you get 10K followers on Instagram? And Miriam is answering her, oh my God, because I listened to the podcast of Shahar with Talk Israel.
Right.
And then they're starting to fight. Why didn't you tell me? And you should have used Mom. She's your agent, blah, blah, blah. And then the call to action is just like, Shoshana, go listen to the podcast.
Right.
This is what we're going to do because it's as simple as that. And you know why it's a strong hook? Because we're trying to get to the people who want to be viral.
Right.
And when we say in the first sentence, Miriam, how did you get to 10K followers?
Right.
It's gonna hook people.
And it's gonna hook like the right people, the exact people that you would want to watch the video.
Exactly, the relevant people. So yeah, this is what we're gonna do.
Amazing.
I guess we're gonna film first Shoshana,
yes,
then Miriam, and then I'm gonna edit it when I'm gonna go back home.
Amazing. We're gonna get the behind the scenes because I always see how your videos are cut, but I've never seen it in action. So you know, to see how you go back and forth and everything.
Love it.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that's the first time I'm doing behind the scenes for my characters. The only difference is that I'm doing it at home usually in front of the window, but here we have great lighting and I felt like this is the setting Miriam and Shoshana need. So yeah, let's do it.
Okay, amazing.
Thank you for hosting me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for coming. This has been so fun.
So fun. And yeah, let's do it.